And so, we find ourselves embroiled in another senseless controversy. Rush Limbaugh, that bad boy of AM talk radio, went and said something he wasn't supposed to say. I'm shocked. Well, not really. The fact that Mr. Limbaugh said things that were over the line can't be argued. Those words should never have been used. There's no doubt about it. No one with a functioning brain could argue that. The fact that Ms. Fluke is a doe-eyed victim can be argued successfully. Ms. Fluke, in her own words, said that she chose Georgetown Law over other prestigious schools because she wanted to get the ball rolling on this particular fight. In one of her first interviews, she's quoted as talking about how she reviewed Georgetown's insurance policy prior to committing to attend, and seeing that it didn't cover contraceptive services, she decided to attend with the express purpose of battling that policy. She went looking for a fight, and she found one. While her spoiling for a fight doesn't excuse the words that Rush used, let's be very careful how quickly we build the gallows for Rush. Should his advertisers desert him? Of course, if that's what they want to do. That's their right. But why do we have a concerted effort of people petitioning to get Rush thrown off the air? What is it about a segment of our society that needs to silence anyone that doesn't share their view? Certainly, we'll have a better country if there's more diverse discussion coming from all directions, no? I don't understand why we can't, I don't want to use the word enjoy, why we can't accept that people have differing viewpoints, and sometimes they don't always articulate them very well. That's the nature of the beast. Now, I don't want to get into a tit-for-tat kind of thing, but I do notice that these same people that want to silence Rush, that want to shut him down, that no longer want him on the air, are the same people who stood silent when Wanda Sykes suggested that maybe Rush Limbaugh's kidneys should fail.
Rush Limbaugh, I hope the country fails. I hope his kidneys fail. How about that? He needs a good waterboarding. That's what he needs.
By the way, President Obama was less than 10 feet away from her and was laughing when she said that. Where was the outrage there? There was none, obviously. What about the outrage when Bill Maher refers to Governor Palin as a twat?
Oh, and did you hear this? Sarah Palin finally heard what happened in Japan. And she's demanding that we invade tsunami. I mean, she says these tsunamians will not get away with this. Oh, speaking of dumb twats, did you, what?
Or a C word. What about that one? How about Ed Schultz calling Laura Ingraham a slut?
President Obama is going to be visiting Joplin, Missouri on Sunday. But you know what they're talking about? Like this right-wing slut, what's her name, Laura Ingraham? Yeah, she's a talk slut.
What about that? Where was the outrage? Where was it? It was nowhere. Now, I'm not saying all these things make what Rush said right. Oh, no, absolutely not. He should not have used the words that he used. I am saying, if it's wrong now, why wasn't it wrong then? Could it be there's a bias? Could it be that when you do it, it's okay, but when I do it, it's not okay? I have a real problem with the fact that there are people that are that closed-minded in this country. Rush Limbaugh was wrong for what he said. Of that, there can be no doubt. No doubt whatsoever. But if he was wrong now, why weren't others wrong then? Where was the outrage? Do you know that the White House, on a website that our tax dollars pay for, the White House, has a petition to remove Rush Limbaugh from the air. I'm sorry. I thought the president wasn't going to get involved in this little fray here. Seems like he's thrown his hat in also. I wonder how that happened. Talk about misuse of power. I wonder, is there anything that we can do to maybe even the score a little bit? Can we maybe call the White House and tell them that we don't want to pay for them to prosecute a campaign against someone who all they really did was spoke out? They spoke out incorrectly, but they spoke out. I think President Obama should be very careful about taking sides in light of the Reverend Wright incident. For those of you that don't remember, Reverend Wright is not exactly America's biggest fan. And he wants God to be on his side and not be America's biggest fan. And President Obama was rather silent until really pushed into a corner. By the way, Reverend Wright's church was one that President Obama attended for over 20 years. Talk about politics, religion influencing politics, huh? I wonder. Anyway, dear friends, my concern is with freedom. The more voices we have in a discussion, the more opinions we hear, the more informed we can be when we make choices. To say that one side of the argument is right and the other side is wrong, or vice versa, without hearing both sides of the argument is pretty closed-minded and pretty detrimental to what our society is really supposed to be. It's supposed to be a free society. And in a free society, we don't look for reasons to shut people up. We look for reasons to give them a voice. And that's not what's playing out here. My fellow Americans, may God bless and keep you, whether you believe in him or not. And I hope that until you hear my voice again, things go well for you. Peace and comfort.